What is up, guys, and welcome to Career Mode, episode number 36, but more importantly for Season 3. This is the opening race of this new season, and, well, what do I say? Apologies for the very lengthy break between episodes. If you haven't been catching up or caught up to date with what I've been up to, I went to Japan for a few weeks, and yeah, the timing was just very bad. Life has been very crazy, but in a good way. We're finally back, and I thought to make it up to you guys, I'm going to give you a 100% race to kick off this brand new season. So leave a like and subscribe if you guys are hyped. I know that this series has been sorely missed over its little break, little sabbatical, Ricardo style. But yeah, we're back bigger, better than ever, and I'm raring to go with this new season. I want to win at drivers, hopefully constructors in this season, and that's the new car. We are partnered with Porsche for this new season. There was a bit of Porsche backing in Season 2, and with the help of Mark Webber, we've been able to step it up to a whole new level. Porsche, Red Bull didn't come together, but Marduk Motorsport and Porsche, it's a brand new thing. They are pretty much full-on manufacturer pairing up with us. It's kind of like an equal partnership. It's Porsche Marduk Motorsport. It's not just Porsche Motorsport, it's Porsche and Marduk. So yeah, hopefully you guys like the design. It is lacking a little bit in sponsors, especially on the rear end towards the engine, as you can see. We're still not fully there as a team with resources and backing. Obviously we have a little ways to go, and I hope over the course of this season we can introduce some more partners and, you know, really step up the funding, the development. There hasn't been a major regulation change heading into this season. Daniel Ricciardo did retire at the end of last season, so it's a perfect time for a manufacturer like Porsche to come in and just settle in under stable regulations. McLaren still maintain their ascendancy heading into this new season of Career Mode. Red Bull shooting up over and ahead of Mercedes. Alpine doing quite well there, fourth best car. Can't write those guys off. Alonso being very strong for those guys. But yeah, we made very minor gains over the winter. We've been held back massively by facilities, and I'm hoping with the backing of Porsche we'll be able to... Sorry, Porsche. I need to stop saying Porsche. I think Australians say Porsche, but I need to say Porsche, especially if you know, want to keep the big wigs happy. Regardless, here we are for the brand new season. Like I said, held back massively by facilities, by actual revenue, having money. As you know, with the sliders, we have everything on low and high. Low for us, like slow resource point gain, slow income coming in, and high for the AI. So it's the ultimate challenge, and yeah, that kind of thing is what's really held us back in this progression of getting to the front of the field. So we're slowly getting there. We have facility level 3 for the aero, and we did like a major or ultimate rear downforce upgrade over the winter. That's all we've done. Anyway, in terms of the driver moves, not too many, if at all, to speak of over the course of the winter break. We had Daniel Ricciardo leave Alfa Romeo, so we should see a new rookie coming up through the ranks. Mark Webber is still retained here at the team. Oscar Piastri is still at Williams. Robert Schwartzman in his debut season in McLaren doing pretty well, staying there. It looks like Dan Ticktum fills the role of Daniel Ricciardo, and that's literally it. So a bit disappointing there from the old driver market. We had a pretty crazy one heading in from season 1 to 2, but now the game is, I suppose, balanced it out by not doing anything this season. But you know, we'll see. We've got potentially more seasons of Career Mode to come, depending on how well or how badly we do in this season. And I think from season 4 onwards, we'll see some pretty crazy moves. But anyway, let's get to the topic of the video. There's a big season break before the first race. I don't know if you've noticed what the first race is from the photos or from the graphics, but it is the Monaco Grand Prix. We are doing 100% race around Monaco with sim damage. And yeah, it's a crazy calendar, this one. We miss out the first 5 races and we start at Monaco. I thought I'd change it up massively and just do it for the memes, really. I don't think anyone ever has started a season at Monaco, not in real life either. I could be wrong. But yeah, should be interesting, should be unique. It's a real driver's circuit. And, you know, for the punters, no one's going to have any idea what the form is going to be because you really can't look into Monaco either as a form guide for the rest of the season. It's a real driver's circuit. So, yeah, I'm optimistic about this first race. Hopefully we can spring a few surprises. We're still not the best car, but hopefully with my expertise around this place, we can make up the difference. Anyway, let's head to the first race where we've got a major upgrade coming in. Actually, it was an ultimate upgrade. And in fact, it doesn't go on. That was an ultimate upgrade for the weight reduction, which would have been absolutely massive for this race. That has failed, and it's going to cost us another 1,200 points to go on. And it'll just go on the day before we had to practice for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. We have to do it. It's the best upgrade in the game, and I'm so annoyed we couldn't get that on in time for this race. We're doing a build time upgrade for the facilities. That's going to get the powertrain to spec level 2, and then we can do some more power upgrades, ERS upgrades, fuel efficiency stuff. Very, very important. So, yeah, we've got the chassis now to spec level 3, hence why we were doing that ultimate upgrade. I didn't really elaborate on that very much, but there you go. It's now failed, but the final, I suppose, department to get to spec level 3 now will be the engine side, which will be a few races out yet. We need to save up our dosh to tackle that. But welcome to Monaco, guys, for the first round of Season 3 of this new season. I'm very excited for this race. As you guys know, Monaco on this channel needs absolutely no introduction. It's my best circuit on the entire calendar, and I'm excited to tackle this venue once again. It's also Mark Webber's best circuit, arguably. So the Aussies gunning for the victory, even though we're not in the best car. Let's see if we can spring a surprise or two. We're both quite experienced. Webber's done a billion seasons of F1, and you know, I've done a billion more as well over my, what was it, 12 years of doing career mode. So we should be absolutely fine. One thing that's a little bit questionable is our chameleon-style color-shifting livery that we have this weekend. McLaren in real life are testing a dynamic sponsor shifting thing, which we actually tested earlier on this year. Now we're taking it to a whole new level, and the whole livery is changing, depending on how far away or what angle you're looking at it from. So, one up that McLaren, if you can. So, yeah, we're just blending in like a chameleon. No one can really see us. The stewards can't see us corner cutting. It's absolutely splendid. But it was a pretty wild practice one. As you saw there, I was really pushing the limits with the barriers. There was a massive back-end loss out of Portier. Just really pushing the limits to see what this car is capable of. It is a little bit nicer with more rear downforce as opposed to the car we left with at the end of Season 2. But still a lot of work to do. Charles Leclerc in practice, ruining our qualifying run, and that was pretty much the end of our session here. You can see from the replay, he locks up in the Nouvelle chicane and then decides to go back to the racing line. It's been unnecessary, really. Completely, well, he's lobbed off our front wing, ruined our qualifying lap, and that's surely penalty worthy as we head into the race. But we look at the timing here, and no penalty for Charles Leclerc, which is a bit BS. So, yeah, very frustrating. But the pace, at least in practice, seems to be pretty good. We went all out in practice 1 and 2. I think the AI are holding back a little bit, so when we get to qualifying, we'll see exactly what they can do and where we sit in this field. All right, here we go for qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix, the most important qualifying of the entire year, and we've got it first up. No pressure. It's not like I haven't played the game in about 3 weeks. but, you know, we're absolutely fine. This is necessary. It's good that we're doing 100% race. I can really get into the rhythm of the game again, learn what this car is capable of, and just sharpen up my skills before we start co-op again, which I know you guys have been asking about as well. Alex currently is moving house, and yeah, we should be able to get that going maybe next week once his internet is set up once again. But back to this universe, and we're currently sitting in P13. That's okay. It's not horrible, but it's not great either for Monaco. Currently up by 0.4 as we approach the middle sector. My favorite part of the racetrack. All these high-speed corners have actually hit the barrier there on the right-hand side. I've lobbed my wing a little bit, but it doesn't show anything on the damage indicator. I reckon there's damage. This is sim damage, and you can see we lost a little bit of time in Sector 3, so I imagine as we get back to the pit lane, yeah, we do have front wing damage. It's going to set us back by about 30 seconds, which is absolutely fine. Still got 7 minutes to go in the session. And you know what? We're going to go out for another run. I don't think we're quite safe on that time. The AI at this stage of the career mode is very close. There's not much separating all the teams upgrade-wise, so we don't want to rest on our laurels, especially not at Monaco. You don't want to be starting at the back. The hardest place to overtake. But we put another run in, and we get ourselves solidly inside the top 10. Only 0.4 away from pole, or provisional pole, in Q1. So, not too bad. What is bad, though, is my teammate, Mark Webber, has got a 5-place grid penalty, as does Magnussen, Sonoda, and I think Oscar Piastri as well. So, some serious shenanigans has gone down on that qualifying session. I don't know what happened, but there was illegal blocking for Webber, Magnussen, Piastri, and Sonoda. There must have been a crash, because that's just amateur. Our teammate's going to be starting outside the top 10 at this rate. Depending on where he qualifies, if he gets pole, I mean, at worst, he's getting P6. So, not ideal, but we move into Q2, where we need to continue the good run of form. Webber absolutely needs to get into Q3 to minimize the damage of that penalty. We can't be taking engine penalties either in this first race. It's just physically not possible. So he's got to qualify well, and then he's got to overtake like a beast in the race, where, yeah, starting off this season with one hand tied behind our back, as you can see the massive back end snap at the end of this Q2 run. Is this Q2? I believe this is Q2. This is our final lap in this session, and we're currently up by half a second on this lap. We've chucked on a brand new set of soft compound tyres, and we're absolutely going for it. I've also lowered the tyre pressures on the rear in hopes of getting some more grip, but I don't think it's working. It is absolutely not working. The rear end is so snappy, but at the same time, we're finding so much time. It's absolutely ridiculous. 5/10 up as we approach the final two corners, catching up to Magnussen, who's going a little bit slowly. Thankfully, doesn't get in our way. We're down to P12. Open the DRS, up to the line, and it's pole position, or provisional pole position, for the Monaco Grand Prix on P1 by 0.06 of a second over Lando Norris. Excuse me? How has that happened? Out of absolutely nowhere, we find, what was it, 7/8 compared to our previous best. We move into Q3, and yeah, we get humbled quite a lot. The AI are now in the low 2s. I did a 9.2 in that last session, and that was P1. I've actually done a 9.1 already, and I'm P8. So either the track is rubbing in a lot, I've corner cut my last lap, so that will be my grid position for the Monaco Grand Prix. Either the AI have put in a stupid AI sim time, glitch time, I don't know, or the track has just massively improved. Either way, we find ourselves in 8th place for this Monaco Grand Prix. Webber's in P5, meaning he will still start this GP inside the top 10, which is not bad, but I was hoping for more after that Q2 run. Time for the race. Hopefully, we can move forward.
Months of rumour and speculation all come to an end today as we return to racing for the opening event of what promises to be an enthralling season. Welcome along then to round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Robert Schwartzman lines up on pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Leclerc, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, Benjamin, Sainz, Ocon, Webber, they've taken a grid penalty, and Pierre Gasly, Albon, Perez, Guan Yu Zhou, and Mick Schumacher, Verstappen, Russell, Daniel Ticktum, and Lance Stroll, Tsunoda, Magnussen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, Latifi, and Oscar Piastri.
So it's P6 then for the Monaco Grand Prix. Crucially, my teammate Webber is starting 9th. Verstappen randomly got himself a penalty. Not sure where that came from, but we take those. One spot closer to P1 for both of us. And yeah, hopefully we can move forward from here. It is Monaco. This is... it's quite ambitious to think we can move forward, especially for my teammate, but, you know, it's a 78-lap race. If there's any race where Monaco, you can do something, this has surely got to be the one. Default strategy, looks like it's going to be hard to medium to see out this race, but, you know, starting on the hards, given the lack of tyre rule from qualifying, is a smart idea. But not if you're me. Not if you can't start a race very well. It's been a long time since I've started a Formula 1 car on my own, it must be said. So we're going to go mediums. I want to move through the field as well. So I think medium is the best way to go. It's going to give me the pace to move forward to overtake the hard compound runners. I'll then get an undercut on those guys, and we should be okay.
The formation lap gets underway, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure that their car is ready for the battle once the lights go out. So
yeah, that's a plan. Mediums to hard if we want to undercut. Alternatively, we can run really long and go to the soft, but it all depends on how the race plays out, how much pace we have, whether there's safety cars. There's still a lot to play out in this Monaco Grand Prix. Oh, let's just get it underway. I'm so excited for this one. The McLarens look like they're out of reach pace-wise, at least in qualifying. Everyone else, arguably, maybe we could beat them, but we seem to be stronger in the races with strategy, with safety cars, retirements, whatever it might be. I think we're a solid chance of doing something in this race. Robert Schwartzman is starting from pole position, had his rookie season last time out. He's in the best car in Season 2 of his career. Let's see what he can do. 5 red light to the Monaco Grand Prix, and we are underway for Season 3. Not a great start, and that's why I didn't want to start on the hard compound tyres, nearly binning myself before I even get up into second gear. Away we go for this Monaco Grand Prix. It's not been a great start. We can see the position to Sainz. Webber is still in P9 on the hard compound tyres. Ocon is going to be absolutely flying on those softs, and it looks like Webber has dropped a place to Pierre Gasly on the hards, though they're fighting side by side on this first lap. We get up the inside of Sainz in the Ferrari. We'll have the outside for this very slow, winding hairpin. We nearly get round the outside. In fact, we do get round the outside of Lewis Hamilton. Turns to the inside for the next 2 right-handers. Hopefully we can squeeze him out and get P5. No, not quite. It's going to be a drag race as we head down into the Nouvelle chicane for the first of 78 times. Round the outside we go, late under brakes. Hamilton absolutely squeezing us off the circuit there. And we get done for an illegal overtake, so we have to get the place back. And now Sainz is going out the inside into the left-hander. Unfortunately, lost so much time to Hamilton in that exchange. And the race leaders, in fact, as well. They're 4 seconds up the road at this point, so not an ideal start on the mediums. We want to be on a charge. Hamilton is certainly going to be doing so on those soft compound tyres. Robert Schwartzman, the fastest driver at this stage, across the line, and it's Hamilton. Hamilton with all the pace in the early stanza of this Monaco GP. So, apologies about my voice. I don't know what's going on. I haven't done not live commentary, post-commentary for probably a month. My voice isn't used to straight up shouting, because that's basically what you have to do into a microphone to get any volume out of it. But, you know, we're getting there, just about. In my chameleon car, we're still in P6, just settling into the race where, maybe not quite as quick as Carlos Sainz at this stage. We're managing to contain him just about. We are slowly starting to reel in Hamilton, but I think that's probably more down to the softs starting to die off. They are going to die off very quickly, even in a 100% race where the tyre wear isn't anywhere near as harsh as a 50% race. There's 2 times tyre scaling, which we don't have to worry about now in this career mode race. So it's a real step into the unknown here with strategy. Sometimes in these 100% races, you can get away with an extra stop because you've got more laps and more time to utilize the newer tires to catch back up. So it's certainly a consideration, but at this stage we're settling in quite nicely. We've got better pace than Hamilton, who's dying on his softs, and actually in clear air, when we have clear air, we were faster than the hard compound runners of Charles Leclerc and those behind. So we're not doing too bad in this race. We're pulling away from Mark Webber. You can see Hamilton going very defensive into the last corner. We open the DRS up into overtake, and we're going to see if we can go round the outside. He's blocking the inside. So heading into turn 1, we have to put on the bravery pants round the outside of Hamilton, and we just about make that stick, but he's got the better traction. He's got the better drive on the soft compound tyres. He's still side by side as we run up the hill and into Casino Square. We finally get the place and move into the top 5. It's only taken us, what is it, 15 laps to get that place. 15 laps to undo the damage of losing that spot to Hamilton on lap 1. That is absolutely mental, and Carlos Sainz nearly followed him through as well. Hamilton did really well to avoid a crash there. Sainz was very, I'd say, restrained to not go for that gap. That could have very easily ended in tears, but finally in this race we have some clear air. The gap is 4 seconds to Charles Leclerc. Finally Hamilton stops on his soft compound tyres, and I think Alonso stops as well in the Alpine. No, Alonso's driving for... Oh my god. I think that's the second time I've said Alonso at Alpine. Alonso's literally at McLaren. You can tell it's been a long time since I've commentated, since I've done career mode, because I have no idea where anyone is at this point. It's ridiculous. Anyway, speaking of the McLarens, Robert Schwartzman still leads the way. They are catching up to some lap cars of Williams and Aston Martin, I believe. But, yeah. Alonso, P3 at this stage, trying to chase down Lando Norris now. He's gone up into second. Alonso changing on to... What is he changing on to? Mediums. So, a very short stint on the hard compound tyres. The AI favouring the mediums, which is quite interesting. Normally you'd think they go very conservative and do a 25-lap stint on mediums and then do the rest on hards, but the hards just must be so slow around this circuit. Meanwhile, this is the battle for the lead. Alonso going for the undercut on Schwartzman. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't work out, and Schwartzman maintains advantage for the rest of this race. It's going to be, well, quite a long stint on the mediums for these guys. They're probably going to have no tread left on those by the end of the race. Everyone going for the undercut, trying to get track position, trying to maximize that track position they get, and then basically just parking the bus for the rest of the race. That's what I can imagine they're doing at this point, just kind of like real life. But yeah, for us, you might have noticed we are in the mud with fuel. Have a listen at most of these corners. You'll notice we're lifting and coasting a lot. And being quite generous on the throttle on exit of corners. So yeah, you might have noticed we underfueled a little bit in the car. Actually, no, we didn't underfuel. We put like 81 laps worth of fuel in the car. But based on fuel consumption, I think that was only like 70 kilos or something out of a maximum of 100 kilos. So looking back at it in hindsight, I think we've been a bit too aggressive with this. But the game literally said we were fueled up for 82 laps worth of fuel. That's Carlos Sainz going straight on and into the McLaren of Robert Schwartzman. We'll have to take this back in the replay and just see if there's any damage for the Ferrari, because Carlos Sainz was doing me a solid holding up the race leaders, giving me some breathing space and allowing me to lift and coast so much. But yeah, Carlos is the walking wounded now. I'm sure he's got some front wing damage after that contact with McLaren. There's no way you can get away with contact like that on sim damage and walk away from that. But Yeah, here we are with now Robert Schwartzman going up the inside into the back. That is not an overtaking area, but that just highlights how under pressure we now suddenly are from the McLarens. I had enough of a pace buffer on Sainz to keep him away because he had 50-lap mediums on his car, same as us. And, Sainz just about had enough pace on the McLarens to keep them away. So it was quite a good formula we had going, but me straight up against the McLarens, that pace difference is not enough for me to be comfortable. That McLaren of Schwartzman is just so fast in a straight line. They've got so much grip in the corners. I really can't afford to relax by any measure because we're just going to get overtaken. I want to do all my fuel saving now because we're holding up other people and it gives us a chance to chase them down to the back end of the race on soft compound tires, which I'm now stretching for. So this lifting and coasting is looking after the tires. It's enabling me to pull off the two softer compounds, and it's getting me back in rhythm with the AI by giving me enough fuel to get to the end. But yeah, as you've noticed, these last couple of laps, I've actually started pushing again. I've tried to close in the gap to Lando because the margin was looking at about 20 seconds, and I didn't want it to get over 20 seconds because then we get into the territory of Lando being able to overcut us and maintain the lead of this race. And he is now into the lane now. He is going to be rejoining quite close to us. The gap was still 19.8 seconds, which I think, by my calculations, is enough for us to maintain the lead of this race once he comes out of the pit lane. So here we go. This is the moment of truth. Up to the line. Lando is coming out of the lane. And I think Lando is going to maintain the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. How has he managed that? I thought the pit delta was like 22, 23 seconds around here. Not 19 or 18 even. That is absolutely ridiculous. Lando on cold, hard compound tires was vulnerable for a few corners, but after that traction zone at Portier, that was it. Lando was gone after that point. So Lando, congrats on winning the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm now going to go back to my usual program of lifting everywhere. That's, oh my word, Schwartzman getting desperate to get ahead of us, but I'm not just gonna wave him by. I am gonna start lifting and coasting a little bit more, which is gonna make it easier for him to overtake. But yeah, it looks like P2 is the maximum we could probably get in this race. I'm trying to back these guys up while I'm fuel saving because it helps me out later. Looks like Schwartzman might finally get us. We give him a big squeeze at turn one, and I think we're just about going to stay ahead. No, Schwartzman's got us now, I think, as we go around the outside into Casino Square. Somehow we're still fighting with the McLaren. He leaves a lot of space at the right-hander, and it's still P2 for us in this race. Meanwhile, after Carlos Sainz got that damage, he was holding up the likes of Alonso and many of those guys behind quite massively. Now that he's stopped, at the same time that Lando did, it's brought Alonso and Hugh and co all back into the fight, including Leclerc as well. So yeah, it's getting pretty dire now at this point. The fuel consumption has been way worse than I could have ever anticipated. 80 laps worth of fuel I put in this car, and if I didn't do fuel saving, we'd probably be about 3 or 4, maybe 5 laps down in terms of fuel, and this just looks ugly at this point. You can see that was Fernando Alonso having a go at us round the outside. I understeered into his path just a little bit, not intentional. I think he's lost a bit of front wing damage, and he is boxing, which is probably not the right call at Monaco. He probably could have maintained that P2, effective P2, just by staying out. No one would have overtaken him, but there you go. You can see Charles Leclerc now overtaking Robert Schwartzman, who didn't get a great run through the Nouvelle chicane by virtue of us getting in the way. 20 laps to go now, and I think we're going to box. We are going to get ready for a box because we're getting ready for the soft compound stint. It should be able to get to the end. Leclerc goes round the outside and into the barrier at turn one. We lifted massively into turn one. Leclerc went for the gap. He is a racing driver, and in the end, it's come at his own demise. Here's the replay. Round the outside. Oh, that is so unfortunate for Leclerc. There was enough space. I think he just went too late under brakes, too hard under brakes, locked the outside front, and he's in the wall. Safety car has been deployed, and here's the replay again. That just shows there was enough space. It was Leclerc's mistake. What is going on in this Monaco Grand Prix? That's inadvertently or directly has saved us in this race, because now we get a free pit stop onto the soft compound tyres. We can go into lean mixture and save all the fuel required to get to the end of the Grand Prix. So we're going to do just that. The safety car hasn't picked up Lando. It's had to carry on for another lap, so I can stay out one extra lap and look after the tyres a little bit more, and then we will box on the next lap, which is this lap. But the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap, which makes absolutely no sense. The field has not caught up. There's only about 7 cars in that train, and we're going to go back to green flag running. It's not like we're in a rush to go back to green flag running. We've still got 18 laps in this race to go. This makes absolutely no sense. Into the pit lane we go. We can now make it to the end on soft, so we may as well do it, but we've been absolutely shafted by the safety car in one sense. We should have been able to get a free pit stop there and rejoin in, yeah, easy P9, P10, something like that. Carlos Sainz is now in 9th place and has a lot of work to do to get his way back onto the podium where he was. Webber's in P4, so he could be a solid shout for a podium at this rate, but he's got to overtake. That's going to be a tricky one, but yeah, 16 laps to go in this race, guys. And we've got 13 seconds to catch up to the likes of Albon and Carlos Sainz. We've got the tyre to do so. Will we have the pace advantage by the time we get to them in many laps' time to overtake them? That's going to be the tough one. But yeah, we set the fast start of the Grand Prix. Pretty unsurprising at this point at 1 minute 10.5, which is actually not too far away from qualifying pace. I think we were in the 9s. We did a 9.2, 9.1. Which is, yeah, not too bad, given how much fuel we've got on board still. But Guan Yu Zhou is out of the Grand Prix. Could that be another safety car for the Alfa Romeo that is retiring at Portier? You can't really get a car out of the way quite easily there, so hopefully there's a safety car. Unfortunately, there is not. Lap 66, 12 laps to go, and we have closed in the gap to Albon and Carlos Sainz. We are massively...
It looks like we might have an issue. Hang in there, we're attempting to manage it.
Oh no. We are massively faster than these guys, but unable to potentially do anything about it if there's an issue with our car. We'll have to wait and see. We actually did have an earlier issue with our engine, which did resolve itself at one point, but it wasn't really worth covering. Hopefully this is another niggly little issue which won't put us out of the Grand Prix. Let's wait and see.
Okay, looks like a mechanical failure. We're going to have to ask you to find a safe spot to retire. Sorry about that, mate. I repeat, find somewhere to retire the car immediately. It's too dangerous to stay on track.
You have got to be joking. We are out of the Monaco Grand Prix after 66 laps. Couldn't even make it to the end. We did so much fuel saving, so much setting up for the back end of this race, and right as we start to get our race back on track, we are out of this Monaco Grand Prix. No points from me, no bonus point for the fastest lap. Let's just hope that Webber can kick on and get a podium for the sake of the team's championship.
And here's our winner, pulling their Ferrari into Parc Fermé after a fantastic race. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there.
GG's, Lando. Well done. You're welcome, by the way, for the win. Holding up the race leaders. It's just what I do. Well done, but I'll expect some payback later on in the season. I can't believe our luck. Maybe that's karma for backing everyone up while we were fuel saving. I'm not too sure, but the dramas of reliability hit us very hard in Season 2 and it's kicked on again in Season 3 with a brand new power unit. at Monaco of all places as well. I just can't believe it. Mark Webber goes from P4 in the dying laps. What was there, like 12 laps to go or something? And he's ended up in P7. Carlos Sainz, meanwhile, has gone from 9th to P2. What happened in those dying laps? We'll never know. We'll never get the replay because we weren't there present for the end of the Grand Prix. But it's P20, no point, a DNF, and absolute mud to kick off this new campaign for Porsche Marduk Motorsport. I'm so disappointed with that race. We were in it for so long. I think it's even more gutting that it's 100% race. We drove around for near enough 2 hours, and then right to the death, the engine gives up. P5 in the constructors, nowhere in the drivers. We've got a lot of work to do. It's only a 16 race calendar, so DNFs like this have a massive impact for the whole season. So we need to bounce back strong in Baku. We need to hope that, well, that ultimate weight reduction upgrade will go on, but we need to be regularly scoring podiums now. We need to be winning races and hope for a bit of misfortune for our rivals. I was hoping this is going to be the season we go for the championship, but now that task becomes a lot harder. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you need to see plenty more racing game content. I'll see you guys next time for Baku. Oh, I hope there's drama. I hope there's carnage. We need it. Anyway, until then, guys, I'll see you next time.